they or no one will ever be able to measure the curvature of the Earth.
You should tell your friends that people have been in space, Chemo.
Yes, I
Why are
did.
you lying
And
to your friends,
what? They said,
Chemo?
haha, what? In a Hollywood
Why
basement?
are you lying to your friends, telling them that we haven't measured
joke.
the gravitational
People been in
constant? Why are you lying to your
Because
friends,
Walter
Chemo? Go
Whis-
tell them
Come
about
on,
it.
man. Stanley
Tell them about the
Kubrick.
curvature that we've measured with geodesy. Go tell your friends about it,
filmed the
Chemo.
moon landings. That's how we know space is fake.
Yeah, tell them that we have pictures from space, Chemo.
Did you tell
and
them
that they prove that
Did you
the
tell them that
Earth
space
is
is the second
round?
law
Tell your
violation
friends
of
about it.
You
thermodynamics?
disrespect other people who've died. Tell them that.
tell
Tell
them
them
that
you
space is
disrespect
the
everybody who
second law-
died in space.
Tell that space is the second law violation of thermodynamics. Verbal.
Tell your friends you don't understand the second law of thermodynamics.
Yeah, but did you tell them
Chemo.
that space next to a vacuum next to gas pressure?
Have you told your friends about that, Chemo?
Chemo, why should he lie?
Well, that's understandable. Just get your friends to get a gas canister and ask them to hold the gas in with gravity. That's what they say.
Oh, I see. Chemo doesn't have any friends to talk to. That's why he hasn't told them about
Well,
the
they've all
rounders yet.
tested it,
I
and not
see.
one of them
That's
can hold
okay,
the gas
Chemo.
in with gravity. How about your friends? Can they hold the gas in with gravity? Uh-huh. So just tell them
Yes.
gently, verbal, that they can't hold
People
the gas.
don't hold gas in gravity.
Yeah.
That's not something that
Keep the
people
gas
do.
in the container with gravity.
Oh, now you want to add a container to it. Chemo.
Yeah. So
Don't
the gas,
come to me
how else you
with
gonna have
weird
gas
ass
pressure?
questions to talk to other people about. Present your evidence for your beliefs, or don't talk to me.
Tell your friends at dinner, like you were just saying, that if they take a gas can, that the gas will move in all directions. There is no downward bias.
Emo seems really bitter about people having friends.
Anyways, Scott, the girls all thought the guy who was in the Dorian Gray series was very attractive for some reason. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, Ben Barnes.
Yeah.
I can't be serious, verbal.
I can't believe they all said the same thing.
Girls dig them.
Charming. But you should really inform them that there is no evidence of a heater.
Lie to them.
What's the
And it's
lie?
nice. You know, we've all been vaccinated, so we don't have to wear masks.
Okay,
Oh,
we're
man, all
not
the
talking
pigs
about
are
that
here.
here because that's
man.
a bit sensitive. I know. No, the opposition. Friendly.
Sorry, Chemo's jealous for our country's
Stop trying
position.
to take Jem's channel down.
Very jealous of the U.S. position. huh?
Nobody is.
Right, all you need to do is tell your friends that space next to gas pressure is not possible because you need a container. Right? See what they say. Come back and tell me and Scott and Veach. Tell me and Veach what they say, and we'll have a nice giggle. Not getting involved then. Sound good, verbal?
So, hey, verbal. My boys and my girl got their first
We're all getting social
vaccination
now.
shot yesterday. It was great. It's great. He
Good.
just got a sore arm. Felt a little worn down last
Have you
night.
told your lad about the shape of the Earth?
Feeling
Bill?
great today.
Have you told him the
It's-
truth?
it's
about
great,
the Earth
verbal.
on the globe?
Come on. You really need to stop talking because you're pissing me off about you disrespecting people who died. Many people died going to space, and you just blowing them off,
Space.
and that's just
Now
wrong,
we're
wrong,
talking.
and wrong.
That's what we're
You say
talking.
it again. Say it again.
No.
To be fair, Mushroom, he's
Hold on,
disrespecting people who
verbal.
are here
You're
and
interrupting
alive.
a flow of
So,
discussion. Base. So, fun. Base.
Say it again, Kimo.
Never
Say it again.
died in space.
No, well, what I'm trying to say, I'm not going to say. Well, what I'm saying is that space is a violation that we can't demonstrate through. Because...
So they didn't die?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the science.
Yeah, you are talking about them. Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to mention.
Yeah,
that
they're a bunch of liars.
Oh, right, there you go. Rams is saying, yeah, Rams is saying they're a bunch of liars, Thon, because space is a made-up place.
Well, Gus Grissom died to bring us the truth before the Masons burned him alive in that space capsule for saying that we can't go to space. He tried to give us the truth, and they killed him and 2 other astronauts. So if people are going to die for the truth, we can at least, try to figure out what they're trying to give us.
Another lie. Stop making baby Jesus cry, Lemon. You're just lying.
All we need then is
to tell the truth about space. under the
And
dome.
Lemon, this guy named Zep posted some really good videos showing how things shrink in height as they go further away on both a flat surface and a curved surface.
Andy,
So
what
Maybe you
am I
should
on
check them
guy
out.
made the claim that someone died in space. Whoever died in space.
Get welcome. So this is Thon.
Thank you.
Tom, sorry.
Yeah.
Tom, hey Get, where's Tom?
Yeah.
Tom, you still here?
Yeah.
If you're going to talk
So-
about space in an
Where's Tom?
unambiguous
Tom's
way,
gone.
we all die in some sort of space. If you
But
want to
I
ask
think-
about outer space, that's a different question.
No, what he was saying there, Get, is that when the Challenger, I think it was a Challenger, those astronauts,
Yeah.
they're saying that he's fake, not real.
Oh,
Huh?
I see.
No,
Yeah.
and that's a
Challenger
complete lie
actually
of
never
the
reached
events that
space,
happened.
the outer space. I mean, that space of NASA, which is that infinite vacuum and
Wasn't even
stuff.
close. When the Challenger blew up, it was
Yeah.
at 14 kilometers.
Yeah, I don't know if you consider
Yeah.
that outer space.
Yeah, the Challenger didn't go to space, but it was on its way to space, and then it kind of blew up, and then they said
They
that there were
didn't
people
die in
inside.
space then. You know. I mean,
What about all
people
those
die
people
in
who died
airplanes
in
too.
Interstellar and Gravity? They all died in outer space.
Space under the dome.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that area there. Because what you've got to get around your head, Globe Earthers, that even if the ball existed, still got a problem with this vast vacuum not pulling this gas
No,
that area.
no, actually we don't.
Because we can't demonstrate gravity, can we?
Well, yeah, it has. Denial of evidence isn't
In order for space to
the
work, you need
non-presence of
gravity.
evidence.
Gravity must be a real component of your model in order for the model to work. Without gravity, you
Mm,
can't really talk about your model. That should be one of the
okay,
first,
well,
next
we
to curvature, gravity
have
and
it,
curvature should be
we
one of
have
the
it,
first
chemo.
things- What?
We have it, chemo.
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying if you're a globe, gravity and curvature should be one of the first things that you use as evidence.
It's already been produced.
Well, how?
Been there, done that.
Oh, they were listening.
Been there, done that. I'm just correcting your lies.
Well, we're listening. And how have you proven gravity? Waiting.
You've been shown.
Well,
Yeah,
I said we
as
could
you-
get a cup of gravity. We can't get a cup of gravity, so I'm going to go with the cup of ether.
Yeah, you can't have a
Give us
cup
the
of
cup of
blue
ether
either,
either.
but we know blue is
Ether
real.
either.
Listen, Kimo, you haven't seen Blue Mamba's video?
Oh yes, of course. A few of us have seen blues, and yeah, there's a definite cause and effect going on. And with this observation, we can see the cause is obviously the air, which gives a push. Without that push, it's not going to move. You put it in a vacuum, there's nothing to push it. So why is it going to move?
Well,
We will not
because of the
see
air.
any
Man.
force in a vacuum.
Because of the air, by your logic, Kimo, because of the air. We have air here, it pushes, everything is good.
No, I'm saying if you put it,
So Lemon,
I'm just saying, Kimo, by your logic, we have air, everything is good. The vacuum don't need gravity.
no, but the ball in the vacuum, the one that we'll see moving.
The ball is not the vacuum, the ball is in the air, Kimo.
Oh my god.
Kimo,
Oh.
I've been having that experiment going on for it's going to be 6 days when I get to the shop, but that little thing hasn't moved a bit. You said it would move.
Did the glass Bob's ball, was it tighter around where the ball?
What are you talking about?
Did
Yeah, was the glass tighter? Come on, man.
Was it
Don't you know how to
tighter, yeah?
measure the tightness of glass?
Was it
just
was
put
the glass more squashed?
How are you squishing the glass, Kimo?
Think about it. You've got this mass inside a jar.
Yeah, just
Mass
like you said.
mass
Close
attracts
it
mass.
off and everything.
Yeah, mass attracts
So
mass.
we
So the
closed it
glass.
No, that's not your claim.
No, the glass should attract the mass inside.
No,
The
that's
mass of
not
the
your
glass.
claim. Your claim is that air is what causes the movement.
No. Look.
Yeah, you did. Everyone
Yeah.
here knows that's what you said.
That mass you've got in that jar has a pulling force on it,
Yep.
right?
How?
Well, the
Of course, 'cause
glass
mass
has
attracts
mass,
mass. What
but
do you
it's
mean?
on both sides.
Yeah.
It's equal
No,
force.
hold on. Chemo,
Yeah.
I'm testing your claim, not anybody else's claim. Your claim is that the air causes the movement.
Yeah.
See? So you agree with me.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 6 days and still no movement.
Okay.
I'm sure I could still leave it there. I could probably put it on a 24-hour stream, and I bet you it still doesn't show it moving.
Yeah, because you've not got it on a torsion, not sensitive.
Says who?
That's the science.
Isn't it on a
You
string?
actually have no idea what that means.
It's not on a balance thing where it's it can move
One
freely.
need to be on. No, I'm sorry. That wasn't a part of the
There's
whole
too much
thing. It didn't need to be on
friction
a
there.
balance. There's no friction. Actually, the whole thing is it's supposed to be friction.
What
It's supposed
what you
to
should have
be the
seen though
air
over
itself.
those days is a tighter glass. The glass should have attracted mass inside
Now,
the jar.
see, that's what I'm hearing. See, you're trying to change the goalpost to your own hypothesis.
Okay, does
You
mass
don't get to
attract...
change your hypothesis to suit your narrative.
I
It
was
doesn't work that
testing
way.
something. Does mass attract mass?
No, I'm testing your theory.
No, I wanted you to do
The
science.
air
Put in a
causes.
jar.
No,
Put
watch.
in a...
Pay attention. Air is supposed to cause the movement. Air inside the container is supposed to cause the movement.
Yeah, but it's
There's
not
air
going
in
to
the
move
container.
that when
I'm gonna
it's
move.
not so freely to move.
It's very free to move. Trust me. It took a day for it to stop moving.
Talking about it's
Like
not...
when I set it up, it took
be,
it a day to stop.
Got to be in the gyro form so it can, the
No.
slightest.
That wasn't a part of it. You never claimed it was a gyro thing that caused the
Well, we
movement.
know the science why it wouldn't move. Got to be in...
You're the one who made the
It
claim.
seems as if he's changing that goalpost a little bit.
But what's more interesting?
Oh yeah,
is,
lightning fast.
is
So
that
if I get a torsion balance, right? Put the little masses on it, put it back inside that jar, right?
Yeah.
So the balance don't have to be very big.
Yeah.
You're saying that then it's going to move on its own because of the air, right?
All over the place. All over the place. Like
But
a
it's
Oh
merry-go-round.
no, it's got to be in a predictable fashion, Chemo.
It's gonna be like a fairground ride all over the place.
But it's not.
So, but what you did though test after 6 days is that the glass did not become tighter because the mass of the glass did not attract to the mass inside. See?
Well, Chemo, isn't it the way forces work? There's a force on one side with one piece of glass, and a force on the other side with another piece of glass. Those forces cancel.
No, there's a mass in between them that should pull them slightly toward it.
Yes, but it's an opposing force. So you'll have mass pulling on one side and mass pulling on the other side, hence no motion.
No, because
Yeah,
if that was a magnet in the middle and then metal around it, that would obviously pull it slightly.
Actually, if I had two magnets of equal force.
No, not two magnets. One magnet in the middle and the rest of the can around it. That's what we've got here.
Same problem. Same problem. There'd be an equilibrium point.
No, they wouldn't. It would pull. There would be a pull on the.
Why?
That's where the mass is closest to the glass.
You're a very dumb man.
Unless he's got it in a cube. He hasn't. He's got it in a jar. Hanging at the bottom.
Why do you need magnets now?
I think space is real.
So look, yeah.
I think you're dumb.
Haven't got any science that we as of yet. We're still waiting for biodual falling for. And otherwise, we all have to right now and accept that there is no gravity. Keep the atmosphere on the Earth. We have an experiment to show otherwise. experiment.
They can drop a microphone.
Chemo, did you listen to Witsit and everybody and then Lemon and everybody for the past 2 hours?
Yeah, can I say something real quick before you go on here? Hey, Chemo, look in the chat real quick.
Oh, I see that. Yes.
You see that diagram right there? Play like the two lines where X is at is the plumb bob hanging straight down, right? And then you have the round earth. See, these plumb bobs have to be able to curve back to the center of the earth. You see how two vertical lines on top versus the round earth, that there is no way for plumb bobs to work on a round earth.
Right.
They do.
You see my point?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, are you actually serious this time, David? Is this like David's actually 100% serious?
Well, what would happen, Don? Explain it. If
Well, let's walk through it. No, if he's serious, I want him to walk us through it.
Don, if we're both in the middle. Don, if we're both in the middle with a plumb bob and we walk away, what's going to happen?
You've got go to the top of the line. You see the left line on X and how it points straight to the center of this sphere, right?
Yeah.
And then you go over to the right where it points to the next line, which you would hang another plumb bob, and it would be vertical there. But then the line that goes in back to the center is off-centered, so that plumb bob would be deviating from the other plumb bob. But that doesn't happen in reality, correct?
No, it's not off center, David. It's in the center also. Why you say it's off center? Because you have half a sphere there. You have half a sphere there.
Are you?
Listen, he's right. Chikey, David's right. But to your question, David, the answer is yes, it does happen. They claim it does happen in reality, and they do demonstrations of it on the micro level. Definitely.
No,
The line to the right, the line to the right of X would be in line with the radius that's marked R plus whatever that fucking foreign language symbol thing is.
All right, here's the problem. Why does that line deviate back the wrong direction? You see, the right line where X is at would have to be slanted at the same angle as the line that's going to the center. There would be a tilt. There would be the tilt to the second line as you go around the ball.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yes,
plumb bob.
That's how it is.
And
you're getting there, David. You're getting there.
There is no deviation from one.
David, listen to this. This is very simple. Okay, you can't argue with this. This is how it is. They don't think it be like it is, David, but it do.
Yeah.
You've got to, David, because you're right. They don't tilt like that. Like Ranty's, if you took a plumb bob from Ranty's observation point and then all the way over to that mountain, they think there would be a tilt. Plumb bobs or deviation
relative to each other.
Yeah, but there wouldn't be any deviation. They'd be parallel.
Yes, there will be. You see it.
Yeah. Parallel. Who's that? Superman's cousin?
Parallel.
See, this is where the main mental block, where the sticking point of where their minds melt, Chemo. I don't know if you understand that.
Of course, we're working very closely with these globe earthers.
This is where the communist mind control. This is like the end of where the door's locked at the end of the long hallway. And the lights go out, and they're trying to figure out how to get back where they started from.
The same could be said for you, though. It could be a limit of your imagination. You're not able to imagine a sphere large enough or a globe big enough to have a relatively curving plumb bob, right? Like the same could be said for you.
Okay.
Well, in all reality, there's up and down, right? You know that there's an up and down. It has nothing to do with anything other than there really is an up and down. Your eyes, the way your body's built, the way every animal's built, the way every tree is grown, everything in this world will show you where up and down. And a plumb bob is the most accurate instrument that does that. And then what you want to tell me is that as I go in different parts of the world, that these plumb bobs no longer hang vertical. This is the problem.
No, David.
And also
They always
parallel
vertical.
one to another. You know, you can use multiple plumb bobs, and you establish parallelity.
No.
They are parallel. You know.
Yeah, my plumb bob hangs just like yours.
Let's
Dave.
sync the plumb bobs up and then go across here.
A parallelity.
See what happens.
That's a good idea.
We're in a parallel. We're in a.
Yeah,
Off you go. Off you
Yeah, it's
go,
like
little
actual science.
We
Off
need
you
to
go.
work together to figure out where we live,
Don't
guys.
pick a plumb bomb and sink it.
I don't know. This is a pretty weak argument, man.
How do you sync plumb bobs up?
I don't know.
Oh,
That's
no.
your
We're
idea.
lost. We're lost. We don't know where we're at, Chike.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
know
does
you're
anyone
lost.
point out to Dallas that all
He's quite
plumb bobs
lost.
do hang vertically because they're following the force of gravity. It's just they're not parallel to each other.
On a ball Earth.
Oh, you
gravity
are muted, Josh. I didn't notice.
We can't sync a plumb bob up, so I can't do it.
Whoever can explain how these plumb bobs deviate, the pictures in the chat, okay? Our Earth, the way that we live right now, we're the flat line and above. We're X, okay, and you are R plus 8.
No, we're on the curved
remember,
surface, Dallas.
your world is this ball, this circle under the X. But in reality, if we take a plumb bob anywhere on that line, it will hang true vertical to that spot where you're at on the
They
Earth.
need gravity, David, for this to work.
And also the string of the plumb bob is considered parallel to a measurement you took like 100 meters away from that point. It
So
will
Dallas,
be parallel to that one.
The easy way to think about it, Dallas, is those 3 lines you see coming from the center of the sphere or circle or half circle you got there. Just keep extending them directly upwards. Those will all be plumb.
No, those will be plumb. They will be plumb, yes, but from the center line, which is where the R is at, that is the number one plumb point.
No, David. It's the middle line, not the center line.
You got to remember, your plumb bobs have to deviate on your ball Earth. They have
They
to.
do.
There is
They do, David.
No,
they do.
you just
They
say
do.
that. This is one
No,
of
no.
those things where they put that in your mind when you're.
No, they do.
David, the question you should be asking what?
David,
you should be asking what?
How you know they don't, David?
David, you should be
What
asking
tells you
what
they don't?
force causes them to deviate like that. That's why they're saying it does.
My brain just exploded.
Yeah, but the gravity has no reason to pull things to the center. That's just a belief system.
Oh, that's another story. But they do deviate.
They deviate because of gravity.
They don't deviate.
There's a universal up and down, but there's no one
Look,
says
David,
that goes
in
down
your
has to
mind.
turn into-
Look,
Well,
in
that's
your
what they
mind,
say, it deviates.
gravity has no reason, for some reason, has no reason to pull things to the center, yet plumb bobs still deviate. So
gravity
compensate
is
in
a
your
vertical-
mind for that.
That is a
somehow.
false
I don't know.
allegation. That's a false allegation.
In architecture, when you use a plumb bob and you do a measurement in one spot, if you do another one 100 kilometers far away, it is considered that the string of those plumb bobs are perfectly parallel in architecture.
Well, unless you're a glober and they think they've got gravity to pull it down and deviate.
Yeah.
David, you got to understand this. The reason why they say it does deviate is because they say there's a force pulling it towards
No,
the center of
you
the
lie, Timo. We don't say because there is a force. We say they
Demonstrate it.
deviate.
How can it deviate without gravity?
Oh, you ask how they deviate. We tell you because of a force. It's not because of the force. We say they deviate.
Same thing. Without the force, it
No,
doesn't
it's
deviate.
not, because in reality they deviate.
Because of the
But
force.
before we say anything,
Then you're saying they are not parallel. Two plumb
they
bobs
are not
cannot be
parallel.
parallel.
Yes, You
The
can go
deviations
measure
over
it.
the distance, right?
False allegations.
Over any distance.
I think the problem is, though,
Sir.
I mean, Kimo wants to say there's a force, or wants to start this argument around the force, is the fact we have an observation. And we look at that observation, and, according to our physics, there must be some sort of force. So regardless of what that force is, there is a force.
That's what we're trying to figure out. How are these plumb bobs deviating? What's causing this? And you're saying it's because of the force.
No, I'm basically saying that it's a necessary condition that there is something with a vector of down that all these plumb bobs are following, whatever that may be.
Anyway, this is David's argument. David, talk to David.
And when we actually compare these two plumb bobs between each other, they're not parallel to each other.
David, it
That's
happens
a big
because of
problem for
gravity.
flat Earth. Sorry, Kimo, go on.
That's why it happened. Because without gravity, it's not going to pull towards the center of their iron core. They have an iron core, David. See?
Iron, nickel,
Yes, the
molten
gravity is the
iron.
necessary
Molten,
antecedent.
sorry. Get.
Another false allegation.
Spinning one. And do the Globers know what happens when you spin molten iron? Do they know?
I know a few things about that.
Spinning
Yeah,
molten
So we got
iron.
two
Tell me.
fallacies going together.
Yeah, tell me
So
what
do
happens.
you think that our magnetic field is a natural magnetic field or an electromagnetic field
No,
generated through oscillation?
I ask only what happens when you spin molten iron.
When you spin it, it goes around.
Yeah.
Nothing happens unless something precipitates
You are it will generate an electromagnetic
No,
field
not by
which
itself.
accelerates
Not by
its
itself. Not
solidification,
alone.
so it will
Not alone.
solidify
Hey,
much
hey,
quicker.
not alone.
Yeah.
Just spinning the
Zanuck,
iron core
I'm
does
gonna
not
put
create a magnetic field.
Zanuck, I'm going to put a picture in the chat, and I want you to explain it for us. Okay, we need like a scientific mind to explain this. Okay, the lines at the top are plumb bobs. Okay, and now go ahead and explain.
No, what lines at the top are plumb bobs? Where?
The two lines on top of the two lines where they're showing X that are vertical to X. Those are two plumb bobs.
No, they're not. One would be a plumb bob, the one to the left of the X. The other one is not a plumb bob. First of all, they're not depicting a plumb bob whatsoever. They're depicting a distance between a tangent point and an angle off the core. That's what it's depicting. You're now confusing what the diagrams are actually showing.
You try to act like you're smarter than you are. Okay, here's the formula for your plumb bob radius bullshit. Okay, there you go. There's your
You want
math.
You want an equation for the plumb bob radius formula. I don't even know what that question means.
All right, there's your bullshit reason why plumb bobs don't hang vertically on your ball earth.
No, that's
You're a master.
That's not even close to correct, David. You have to go back to the drawing board.
No, that's your
Wait,
math.
David, do me a favor. Can you read? Do you read the equations you posted, David? Can you read them?
Yeah, please read that equation to us and tell me what it means.
I've already explained
you just find things in the internet.
read it,
David. You just find things in the internet and post it.
I don't have
and make us think that you're trying to make us think that you know what you're talking about.
I've showed you.
You can't even ask the proper question. So how do we answer it?
So, Chemo, we're finding out that they're really not as smart as they say they are, aren't we, Chemo?
Don't give up.
Yeah.
These are the
Honestly,
the
your
leading
argument
globe
is worth
earthers.
trolling. It's so bad, though. It's really bad.
I put a simple math formula in the chat. They want
Read
me to
it for
explain
us.
it.
Read it for us, David. Read your formula. The formula you posted. Read it for us.
I thought that you guys were trained up.
No, I want you to read it
All
for
I
us.
hear is, math proves this, math proves that, all of this, and now I put a simple math equation.
Yeah,
in
read
here.
it. It's a simple math formula. Read it for us. Don't solve it. Just read it.
I'm not in school.
David, tell us one thing about that equation. Just tell us what that little check mark thing over the R2 plus X2 means. Just tell us that.
Yeah. Just one
Let's
thing,
see.
David. Go ahead.
Let's see. Where's this at?
Exactly.
What you got your radius? What are you talking about?
You got one right.
Reality.
What does the symbol over the R2 plus X2 in the first line mean? What is that?
Chemo, you see what I'm saying?
Oh
we're
my
not,
God.
I think we're in the wrong.
David, it's pretty bad. They kind of
we're in the
exposed themselves.
wrong room, Chemo.
Let it
Why
be
are
a
they
lesson for
asking
you,
me?
David. Don't
Why-
Because
post
you're
things you
you're
can't
asking
do.
something that makes no sense, David.
No,
David, you
that's
asked me
trying to
to,
act like
you asked me to
I'm
explain
the
a
one
simple equation. You gave me a picture.
I'm
Hold
the
on. You
one
gave me
that
David, my turn. You were talking. You gave me a picture of a ball called the Earth in this particular diagram, and a radius from the center. We all agree what a radius is. Then there's two lines that are off center from that radius, and those are also radiuses, right? And there's an x, which is a distance on a tangent from the initial radius. Now, so what are you asking us? Now, the only plumb bob in this diagram, the only one that would be considered to be a plumb bob would be the left line of the x. That's it. There's no other plumb bobs on this drawing. Then there's a formula or an equation below that, which I don't think you know what it's depicting. So we would like to know what you think that equation means, and then we'll answer your question.
Yeah, I think it's to simplify this question is better to ask how many parallel radiuses you have in a sphere.
That's a good question.
How many parallel radiuses do you have in a sphere?
How many?
Yeah. How many?
The plumb bob is in
How
your
many?
hand.
None. Zero.
Zero.
There we go.
Correct.
Somebody gave the correct answer for once around here.
Yeah. Welcome to Flat Earth.
No, if the radiuses are not parallel, then plumb bobs are not parallel. You get it?
Exactly. Yeah.
No, plumb bobs are parallel. This is
No,
the
they're
problem.
not parallel. We measure them
are.
not to be parallel. We measure
All right.
them easily measured with simple
cannot
equipment,
measure-
even
cannot
rudimentary
measure-
equipment.
There is no way. How would you measure two plumb bobs deviating from one another?
Demonstrate it.
Inclinometer,
Very
David.
easily.
And
Extremely
no,
easily. And I
if
posted
I
it
have a
before.
plumb-
I'll
if
give you
I
one.
have-
I'll give you one way. I'll give you one example. Okay. I'll give you one example.
All right,
If
give me
you're
an
a
example.
surveyor, you can do this. You have two plumb bobs, and you have distances that have been measured, and then you do a site survey, and then you get this answer, and I'll put it in the chat.
No,
There
you
you
got to
go.
remember, you got to
There you
presuppose.
go. Now I'll give you the
all
values.
your
I'll give you the
all your
values they
math-
met.
you said
David,
something,
you're asking for
and then
something.
I'm saying something.
You're asking
All
for
of your
something. I'm
math
giving it to
statements
you.
are presupposed.
Hello,
Hold on.
David, you're asking for something. I just gave it to you now. So this is how you measure the non-parallel nature of plumb bobs.
We don't.
Planet, did you count for
I just got
atmospheric
the
lensing in
value.
this?
Two plumb bobs that are 400 meters apart
Yeah.
have a deviation of 16 seconds.
Yeah, but did you
Oh,
count for
here we
atmospheric
go.
lensing?
What?
You
There they
account
go.
for
They
atmospheric
finally go-
lensing in your equation.
Over atmospheric lensing?
Yeah,
What
you
does
know
that mean?
things drop
Chemo?
in the distance,
What
right?
does atmospheric lensing do?
They go
Over
to the
400
sky,
chemo,
The first thing they do is
400
go to the
meters.
s-
400 meters.
Sky arc seconds
We're
are
not
nothing
talking
in
about
the air.
atmospheric lensing. We're not talking about any kind of magnification. We're talking about positional errors.
Yes, and when
Measurable
you look,
positional errors to your assumption that plumb bobs are parallel. This shows an error in that calculation if you assume them to be parallel.
all right, so that other theodolite is lower than the one. It's showing a drop, basically. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So the reason why you're seeing that drop is the same reason why Ranty's mountain dropped, why your mountain
No, it's a
dropped, why the
completely
Black
different
Swan
reason.
platform drops.
Hold on.
Because things
It's a
at distance
completely
like
different
this.
reason.
Why
Hold
can't I
on.
ever finish a point? Because things, I'm nearly finished. Things like this, Sonic, they drop in the distance.
Why do they drop in the distance,
Why?
Timo?
Because of atmospheric lensing. We've seen it with Ranty's picture. We've seen it with
No,
your picture,
lensing, no
Sonic.
one's ever,
We've
even on
seen
your
it with
side, no one's ever said
Black
that
Swan.
lensing drops things. No one ever said that lensing drops things.
Yes.
No one's ever, even on your
Atmospheric
side.
lens.
Try something else, Timo.
No, we've seen it with
that's
your
an incorrect answer
mountain.
even from your perspective.
Sonic, your mountain picture is lower in the background, right?
Yes.
Right. So why do you think that's happened? The same thing that's happening here. Things in the distance drop down.
They don't.
You've got 2 examples of it.
Chemo.
They don't just drop. Go ahead.
Ranty's got
What
another
at-
example of it. You've all got examples of it
Hold on.
all, where everything in the distance drop. You see it with the
Hold on,
sun.
man.
The sun looks like it's going down below the horizon, but in reality, it's in the air, in the sky.
I have a video of that shows that from Brian Logic. I'll post.
You have what?
Chemo. When I show a picture of the mountain in the distance is lower than the mountain closer.
Right. Done it.
It's
The
lower
sun.
because
But listen.
no. Things do drop. If they're above you, they'll drop. If they're below you, they'll rise. So
Right,
what are
listen,
you talking about?
The sun looks like it's going down below the horizon, right?
If it's above you, it'll drop down.
Yeah, but when you look at it at the beach, it
But
looks
it'll
like
never go below eye level. Hold on. It will never, ever, ever, mathematically, trigonometrically, geometrically, it will never go below eye level.
Yeah,
Yet
I'm
it
not
does.
arguing all that nonsense. I'm
Yet
saying
it does. It goes below eye.
Yeah, I'm not arguing any of that.
It goes below eye level.
No, I'm not
Mathematically,
arguing that.
show us how that's possible.
I'm not arguing
And
that. I'm
talk
only
over me
asking
is
you,
not-
when you look at the sun,
Talk over me is not going to make your point any stronger.
because you're not answering yes
You
or no.
gotta address.
Very
You gotta
simple.
address Chemo's point.
Yeah, sure.
His point is things go down
Yeah,
in a distance. They do not go down a distance if they're at eye level.
Hold on. You're arguing against the point, but you're not addressing his point. His point is that there's some kind of atmospheric effect that causes that mountain to drop.
That's right.
So, Chemo, what atmospheric effect? What are the conditions that constitute that atmospheric
Now
effect?
you're listening. That's right, Zanik. Calm
No,
down.
it's a
So now,
valid question, Chemo.
now Bearded Dragon
address
knows
that.
this happened.
Chemo has a claim. Address his claim. Stop trying to prove a globe.
No, it's not proving the globe. We know on a flat
Well, it's
Earth.
proving that
Not
his point
you,
wasn't correct.
Chemo. Somebody. Zanuck is trying to prove a globe. He's not addressing your points.
No, I am addressing his point. He said atmospheric lensing is causing things to drop.
Yeah,
in the
that's an
distance.
effect.
No,
So,
it's not.
conditions cause that?
as Bearded Devil mentioned, what would be the conditions for things to lower themselves in your field of view?
Right. Because the atmosphere acts like a lens, okay,
Yeah.
causes things to drop in the distance. Now,
N-
how
now
do we
prove
know
it.
this? How do we know this? Is because you can take a flat table, okay,
Yeah.
and you can take an object, and you can take a lens, yes, and you can have that object drop as it moves further
No.
and further away.
We don't see
Okay,
that,
so
actually.
yeah, you do see that, but there's a very specific reason why you see that, Chemo.
Yeah,
Do you know
atmospheric
why?
lens, and that's why.
No.
Now, what
You
is a
can claim
lens?
atmospheric lensing
What-
when you have a magnifying lens involved. So,
Before you
but
say,
there's
before
hold
you
on. There's very specific issues that comes with that. Do you know what that is?
like what?
Please explain.
Well, particularly with like the Fresnel lens, right? That would make it look kind of oddly spherical in the opposite direction.
No, it's not
All
just a Fresnel lens, it's a magnifying lens. In fact, it's any lens. Now listen up. A lens, how do you make lenses? What are lenses made out of?
Lenses
Liquid.
magnify.
Liquid.
Chemo.
Sand, then liquid. So if
Well,
the
it's a
glass
solid.
is like
Hold on.
liquid, then we have...
You're not going to get a lens in it.
What?
All right, those are solid whenever they're formed and polished into a lens.
Yeah. But what's
Okay, but they're single units.
No, but how do you make a lens?
The how is irrelevant.
Got to make it into a liquid.
Well, to melt glass, that's typically melting glass causes it to get into a molten state.
Yeah.
It's still a solid.
Yeah, but it's still acting like a lens. Giving us the same
Not
effect.
not in its liquid. Not glass in its liquid state doesn't do that.
Glass in
Well,
its liquid.
it's molten state. It's
You
not.
don't
It's
know
not
that. How do you know
technically
that?
liquid.
But
have you seen
here's
see-through
the
liquid
problem
glass?
with that. So Chemo has to go with this whole thing. It was a specific lens that did that. So now Chemo is saying that the atmosphere is a Fresnel lens.
Right, no. So again, we see this
Well,
in nature.
no, that's literally what you have to say, Kimo, because it was
Not
a
just
Fresnel lens
it's any
that
lens.
was used.
Any lens.
No, not any lens.
Any lens. In that video, he
No,
doesn't use a
not
Fresnel
any
lens.
lens.
It's not a Fresnel lens. It's a magnifying glass.
Hold on, Chemo. But the example from the original video where the television reporter was talking to that scientist or whatever, right? The middle part of the lens was flush with the flat surface, and it made the skyline get bigger.
Missing the point here. In effect.
No, that's the point.
Hey, bearded devil. If we accounted for that lens, both in our eye and in the camera, if we like took that out of the result and it still dropped below level, would that? What would you say then?
But if it still dropped on a flat surface,
like on a GoPro, right? Like you can remove that curving feature by adjusting it with another lens. So if we
I
did
don't
the
think
test,
he's talking about the curving feature. He's talking about that the guy had to drop the lens down below the surface of the table. The middle of it was flush with the table.
Right.
And that's the only time that effect happens. If you actually put any lens on top of the table like we see and how we see, it never, ever, ever happens.
Okay, I'll look into
right. If you take a regular magnifying glass, it's not much different than a Fresnel lens. Due to the refraction of the light going through the lens, towards the bottom, it makes things look like they disappear. It's simply just
Our job
actually
is
getting
just to
anything.
replicate the effect in nature. That's it.
No, you don't replicate the effect by being dishonest on how people actually see. We're on top of the earth. We're not below. Our eyes aren't flush with the fucking ground. We don't walk around that way.
Yeah, how you think the sky works is irrelevant. If you can demonstrate
I'm not talking about how the sky works. I'm talking about how the fuck we see and how you have to dishonestly try to represent reality by putting what the equivalent of our eyes at the surface of the fucking ground to get the results you want.
Well, again, we're not interested in what you think other than what you can demonstrate. Okay, if you can show...
Actually, Kimo,
I'm demonstrating your dishonesty.
No, you haven't shown that. Where's your experiment? Exactly.
I have it on my channel. I use the Fresnel lens. I use various angles that would use the Fresnel lens to get the different effects. And I also explain visually how Rob Skiba fucked y'all over with some bullshit.
It's not just a Fresnel lens,
So,
it's a magnifying glass.
so the video I posted of Brian Logic carrying out the experiment, you're claiming it's below the table.
Yeah, I think Bearded Devil. I think he's talking about that penny on the table, and they move it farther away, and it gets blurry, then it disappears bottom up. Is that what you're talking about?
No, he's talking. You know how Rob Skiba took a Fresnel lens and then moved his paper sun backwards, and it looks like it disappears into the table. That.
Yeah. And those are the angles that come from the object that are coming to that lens. That's very important in this experiment. And it has a lot of errors compared to real life, what you see in the distance, in large distances.
Well, no, it's fake. It's literally just fake. It's a scam. I exposed the scam on my channel. It's not hard.
You haven't exposed anything.
You haven't really looked into this very carefully, have you?
Danik.
The lens has to be a certain distance from the observer, Chemo.
Not interested. We have an effect in nature. Can we replicate that in the laboratory?
Well,
yes, we can.
Don't give a fuck.
A flawed experiment.
Gaslight is real.
Yeah, again, not interested in what you're saying. If you can replicate what we see in nature, that's what we're talking. The natural physical world. Can you replicate this with a scientific
replicating it in an intellectually honest manner, Chemo? That's the whole point. If you have to use dishonest tactics to attempt, not even replicate it, but to attempt to replicate it, you have
no idea what science is or how to conduct it. No,
I know how much of a fucking dishonest piece of shit you are, Chemo.
Do you know how to conduct a scientific experiment?
Okay.
Show it right now, then. Provide
that's only your opinion.
All right, provide a glober's experiment. Let's take a look. any globe on your side. Show us an experiment.
Don't need to.
Exactly, because you don't have any. That's
Exactly.
the point.
No, I could if I really wanted to.
Well, let's have a look
But
at the
just
scientific experiment.
all I'm doing is pointing out your dishonesty, Chemo. That's what I'm here for.
No idea how
I'm
to
here.
conduct science.
I'm here to wind you up and point out your dishonesty.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
all you're here
fucking
for.
fun.
For the entertainment, you have no idea what science is or isn't.
Says the guy that can't do it. Hasn't done a scientific experiment ever.
We don't even know what science is.
You
I
wouldn't
asked
know.
you what
Yeah.
science is, Chemo. You refuse to answer.
Well, he can't answer because
So,
he
like
has
I said,
no
we
idea.
have
what
we
science is.
have an effect in nature. Can this be answered with an experiment? The answer is yes. Yes, it can be answered.
Okay, go us through it.
So therefore, Zanuck,
Walk
all
us
of your
through it.
theodolites and mountains and
No,
Rantis pictures can be
We don't even need
explained.
a theodolite.
Natural
We don't even need a
phenomena,
theodolite. Hey,
dependent
Chemo,
and
when I
independent
show
variables.
you the bit, when I show you the mountain, below the twice as tall mountain, or excuse me, half the size mountain, we're not looking through a lens. We're just looking through with our eyes. Why is the second mountain, which is twice as tall, below the closer mountain, which is half its height?
Yeah, we expect
Please explain that to me.
What is wrong with you? It's
No,
the
what is
same
wrong with
thing
you?
as the Black Swan, where the platforms are lower. Same thing with Rantis' image. The mountain behind is lower. Same thing with your mountain. It's just lower.
Right. Well, my mountain is easier for people with simple minds to
The
understand.
same thing as
Please
look.
explain to me.
We've seen this all year.
Chemo, don't interrupt me. Chemo, please do not
Zanuck,
interrupt
let me just ask one question.
First,
Why,
you're
Zanuck?
making-
One question.
you're
One
making everybody
question.
go nuts here.
One question.
You're
Zanuck.
making everybody go nuts. Stop
Zanuck,
doing that.
one more question. Why didn't this turn
Chemo,
Ranty
I
into a
asked
ball
simple
earther?
question. We answered your silly question.
Zanuck,
Now answer mine.
Why didn't this picture turn Ranty into a baller?
Mountain below the less height mountain, the lower elevation mountain? Why is the further mountain, which is twice as high, below, from your point of view in this picture, why is it below the lower elevation mountain? It's
Same
twice as
reason
high,
for the
the further
Blackpool
mountain.
picture,
and
right?
It's twice, stop! It's
You just asked me
as
3
high.
times the same question.
No, I'm going to make it clear before I stop talking. It's twice as high and twice as far. And the diagram, a kindergartner can understand. So you tell me why it's below it.
Stop asking me. That's the 4th time now. So obviously,
Because you
it's the
keep on
same
acting like you don't understand.
Of course, I understand. So it's
Then
the
tell
same
me
reason,
why it's below it.
It's the same reason for why Ranty's mountain is lower, right? You're saying that's Earth curve. You're saying that's the drop of the Earth. Yes? Same reason. So my question to you, Zanuck, is why Ranty's seen this image before. Why didn't this image convert him to a globe earther?
Ranty wasn't very smart. So give me the answer. Let's
No,
not talk about
I've
Ranty's
just
anymore.
told you. Your
I asked
answer
you a
is because it's
simple question.
curved. It's Earth
Tell
curve.
me about my picture, and then we'll go from there, please.
Yeah, I've given you the reason why, but I'm saying
No, you
your
haven't given me
answer,
a
what you're
reason.
looking
There's
for,
no
is it's
lenses
Earth
involved.
curve.
It's line of sight. You can go to Portland and go to that park right above Portland. I've been there before, and you see this every single day.
Same
Why
as in
does it happen,
Blackpool.
Timo? What?
Same as in Blackpool, you see Ranty's mountain
Stop
lower. We
comparing
know
other
the reason
pictures.
why.
I want to know the reason, Chemo. Why is this the second mountain twice as far away, but twice as high? Why is it below the former mountain? The mountain
Have you ever
before mountain?
shown this in Nathan's QEs before, Zanuck?
Dude, if I say one word, I get literally one word, they'll mute me because they're scared of the truth.
Have you
It
posted
wrecks
it?
their
I mean, have you
flow.
posted it in there before? Is what I mean.
Oh, I posted it in there. And
How
nobody
long? How
knows.
long? How
They have
long
no
for?
answer. It's
How long?
perspective. It's this. It's that. No, it's refraction. That's
Yeah,
the
but
best
how
one I
long
like
have you
to
been
hear.
talking about it? Is it just recent?
Years, right?
Years you've been having
Yes.
this picture,
But
right?
Chemo, why are you deflecting?
I'm not
Just tell me
deflecting. I'm
the
asking you.
answer.
You've been showing this
Just
picture
why
for
can't you answer a
years.
simple question, Chemo?
Something wrong with you, Zanuck.
glober.
Why can't you answer a simple question? Why is the second mountain lower? Give me whatever answer you want. I don't care what the answer is. Give me a fucking answer.
That's you. The same reason why Ranty's mountain
No,
is lower.
don't give me that. I want your answer.
All right, yeah, let's slow it down. Chemo, give him a direct answer. Come on.
Well, I did. I just said it's atmospheric lensing.
No, we were looking at line of sight. There's no camera lenses.
That's his answer. You said any answer. Zanuck, you did
So
say
it's
any answer.
atmospheric lensing. And this lensing in the distance, 100 miles away, is going to move that mountain downward.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, he says with confidence.
That's what we see all over the world.
Oh
we
my
see
God.
that lensing
No,
everywhere.
sorry. First of all,
So you
let me
got
say about the atmosphere.
You took a picture of
The
a
atmosphere,
mountain. And
if
you
you're
thought the
flying
Earth
in
was
that
a
area,
ball.
and many people do, chemo, everyone know, and you can see things that are indicative of what we got as far as the atmosphere. We have snow-capped mountains. Both of them have snow-capped mountains. Both of them. And we all know that the air on top of mountains is going to be less dense than the air below it. So light will naturally bend down to through the denser medium. So it makes your problem worse, chemo. There
Panic, we
should
see
be
this
blooming.
every single
The
day
mountain,
with
the
the
second
sun.
mountain should be above, well above the first mountain, yet it's not. It's below it. You can't use perspective. You can't use refraction. You can't use atmospheric lensing because it's below the full.
No, it must be the
I think
curve
what we
then,
need
yes?
is like a raised up shot, like a continuous
must be
shot
because
of
of the
like raising
curvature,
an
Zanuck,
elevation
right?
and seeing the different perspectives more. I think
I'll
that's
give
what
you
we
different. I'll give you. I have several perspectives.
It's
of
because
this.
of the curvature,
Several.
Zanuck, right? Is that the answer you're looking for?
Well, why? How else is a mountain twice as high?
But you're
below
saying
it
the
than
answer you
top
want
of
is
it?
because of curvature.
Of course, it's because of curvature.
There
The
you
Earth is
go.
curved.
But
Wake
you're all
up.
that rambling just to
Wake-
get the person to agree with you.
I'm
No
not-
challenge, no argument.
Hey, bring up refraction. We could talk about refraction. Bring up lensing. If you know what you're talking about, we can talk about lensing.
I'm saying,
but you're
if
not.
you try to
You're just-
listen...
You're just dropping catchphrases.
Okay, so
and
again, you want me
words.
to say it's for the
You have no idea
curve.
what they mean as reasons. They're
What do
not
you want?
reasons.
Ding, ding,
You
ding, it's
can't
the
explain
curve.
them.
No. The sun, Zanuck, goes down like that, but we know the sun is not really touching the apparent horizon. It's not going beyond a geometric horizon, Zanuck.
Forget about the horizon.
Get
We're not
this
even
into
talking
your
about
head.
horizon. We're talking about Earth curve proof that
It's the
shows
same. It's the same
mountains
phenomenon.
twice
Zanuck.
as high.
Zanuck, try to
and
listen.
below-
You're not letting me talk. You said it five times. You said
I
your
heard
thing.
you. I heard you.
Okay,
You're
Zanuck, let
not
him talk.
saying anything- You're not saying anything different.
Right, moderators. Gotta
Zanuck,
sort
he's
Zanuck out.
trying to give you an example of the same thing where something that we think is looks like it's lower down, like the sun
Right,
setting.
so this is the point here, is that because the sun does not go beyond a geometric physical horizon, we therefore know the sun is still in the sky and giving us the illusion of dropping Zanuck. So with that...
I have the same two mountains. I got the same two mountains here, and now they're in the right perspective. Now, why is the second mountain, which is twice as high, look like it's higher than the first mountain, which is much lower? Is it? Hey, how about Don? Why don't you
Well,
tell me
we
the
see a
reason?
natural phenomenon if this was to be a flat plane of foreground looming and background sinking. Okay, so since that's the natural phenomenon, now we could just calculate the rate at which this happens and apply it to the flat plane.
Right. So if you're flying in a plane and you see these mountains, you know where to aim so you don't crash into either one of them. And if you do aim correctly, you won't crash. And if you understand it, you'll realize that it has to be Earth curve because the
we got to get flat plane refraction calculated, and then we'll be for sure.
What is flat plane refraction, Don?
Well, the flat plane reflection.
What does that mean?
Yeah, can we get some numbers on that?
No, that's what we got to work on. I don't have that. We got to do the numbers because the numbers are only, like Witsit pointed out in the debate with Ranty, the numbers are only assumed for the globe with the R.
And once you get the numbers, what kind of calculations are you going to apply to them?
We could just represent. We can then use those to show the rate at which the foreground looming and background sinking is happening.
Are you're going to touch
With
Snell and all the
distance
other
and
laws?
distance and height stuff. Huh?
You got to remember, all this information is they're trying to convince you that you live on a ball with all flat Earth observations.
Zanuck,
This
I
is
want
the
you to
problem.
answer my
All the
question now,
numbers-
okay? So the sun, when it goes down, is it going beyond a geometric horizon? And if yes, how far is that geometric horizon?
Yes, it's going below a geometric horizon.
Okay, so when a person's at the beach and they're watching, appreciating the sunset, how far is that geometric horizon?
If you're 6 feet tall, it's about 3 miles away.
So the sun is going down 6 miles away.
the sun is going down 3 miles away. What part of that didn't you
3
understand?
miles away, sorry, yes. So, if you're 1 foot and the horizon's 10 miles away, where does it go down?
Now you're talking about something completely different.
Yeah, if you're a 1 foot observer and you see 10 miles away.
You're talking about refracted horizon.
Yeah, but the horizon you're talking about, Zanik, is not physical.
Refraction affecting the object you're seeing being obscured by the horizon.
So let me get this straight. So the person who's 6 foot sees a 3 mile horizon. Is that the physical geometric horizon?
There is a physical geometric horizon, of course.
And that's where the sun will start to go down.
That's where the sun will be obscured. Physically, geometrically. Now what you see will be altered by the atmosphere. We all agree. I think both sides agree.
Yeah, but that horizon that we see,
there's something called refraction. Hold on. Now we can measure this. We can actually do a scientific test. You like science, Chemo. You talk about it all the time. All we have to do is raise our point of view, raise the measuring point at which we're viewing this obstruction, and see if those angles comport with reality. And as you go higher, you see a change in that angle to the horizon. So you know that something is bending the light when you're at the surface that's not bending it as it goes upward. And we know it's bending downward because we know the atmosphere is denser on the downward side of the surface.
Well, I can't digest any of what you're saying. I'm trying to figure out when we look
at
if you're a 6 foot observer and the horizon is 3 miles away, but that's not the geometric one. That one can move from 1 mile to 10 miles to 100 miles.
Well, you're not being very clear about what you're seeing, what you're viewing.
Yeah, if you're an observer,
there's a horizon you view, and there's a horizon that's a geometric.
Does the sun go over a geometric horizon, a physical?
The sun in your field of view is lifted up. It's called looming due to refraction. So in some cases, in some extreme cases, yes, you can see 10 miles further than you should.
I'm asking which horizon does the sun go down beyond?
Well, you got to be it has to be a little clearer question there.
We only see the apparent horizon.
You're talking about what you see, the visual horizon, the apparent horizon. How about the apparent horizon? We've all used that term. Yes, the apparent horizon will change based on atmospheric conditions.
So if we see a sunset, you're saying that line is the geometric horizon.
I didn't say that.
I'm asking you.
Oh, you see a sunset. Now we're talking about an apparent horizon.
Yeah. So is that so when
it's not
that's what I'm asking you then. So if it's an apparent horizon,
it's not the same as the geometric horizon. The geometric horizon is how things mathematically will work out. Physically, what happens? Physically, for example, if you had the ability to draw or have perfectly straight lines from you to the sun. So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what you see. What you see will be different based on atmospheric conditions. Now we can validate whether it is a geometric issue or an optical issue by changing one of the variables. One of the variables is the viewer height. And once you go higher, you see things change dramatically.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out
why would that happen? So another way to test it is when you measure this angular speed, the angular speed of the Earth, I mean the sun, as it sets. You notice that as it gets closer to the horizon, it slows down. Why is that? Isn't that peculiar?
No,
why does something go at a constant angular speed, and then as you get close to the horizon, it starts to slow down angularly?
What I'm trying to ask you is...
No, I know what you're trying to ask, and I'm answering it the best way I can, and you don't want to understand it. That's okay.
Well, why can't you sync plumb bobs together and then?
Hold on a second. He just galloped for that time. Hold on, I want to ask him.
I didn't get scallop. I didn't get scallop at all. I told you that the sun, as it's going down, this movement, we all agree there's movement, whether it be the Earth moving or the sun moving, it doesn't really matter in this situation. We all agree that when it gets close to the surface of this, whatever we are, planar or sphere, it slows down. What causes it to slow down, Chemo?
No, my question, Zanik. If the horizon is constantly moving, okay, so which horizon does the sun set beyond?
What you see, or what is geometric?
I'm asking you which one. So when you see the sun setting...
ask me which one you're talking about.
I'm asking you, which is the horizon, geometric
I
one or the
told you
apparent
already.
one?
There's the one you see, and there's one that's geometric. We don't always see the geometric because we're looking with optics, our eyes, over and through atmosphere. So
does the sun set over the
atmospheric horizon is
geometric
one
or
we're
the
always
apparent
going to see.
horizon?
So let's talk about that. The one that we
Does the
see through the
sun,
atmosphere is one we
Zanik,
always
set
see.
over the
It's
geometric
called the
horizon
apparent-
or the
it's
apparent
called the
horizon?
apparent- It's called the apparent horizon.
But the sun
And
sets
that
over the
will
apparent
change.
horizon.
That will change until we start changing the elevation of the viewer. Once
But
you change
Zanik,
the elevation, change the angle
does
to
the
the
sun
sun,
set over the
things
apparent
change.
horizon? Good. Let's talk about that. So if it's setting over the apparent horizon, which we know fluctuates and constantly moves depending on the atmosphere conditions,
Correct.
how can we know when the sun is setting over the geometric? Because if we're a 1 foot observer, and
I'll answer it. You don't need a gish gallop. Now you're gish galloping. All you
no,
need to do,
I'm trying to be clear.
I will answer you. You
No,
let me
you
answer?
don't know my
Will
question.
you let me answer?
You don't know my
Are you
question.
going to answer?
My question is.
Are you going to let me? You asked the question.
didn't
I got it.
finish.
I didn't finish, Zanik. I'm almost done. So if you're a 1 foot observer and your geometric horizon is at 1.22 miles away, and then you'll see, so you're saying the sun should go down beyond this point physically.
Yes.
Yeah. So now that horizon is now moved further back 10 miles. So now, if I'm still looking at the horizon
No,
at
it's not moved
1.22
back
miles
10
away,
miles. Hold on.
which
It's not moved back. Hold on. It's not moved back 10 miles. It's moved up in your field of view an angle, maybe 0.02 degrees or something.
No, Zanik,
It's no 40 degrees.
listen, Zanik, stop.
Then he's saying if you went higher and made a tent of.
Okay, can I answer it?
I'm
Because
saying
you've been
about-
asking questions for 5 minutes. Let me answer it real quick. Real quick. Let's be fast. So you measure this horizon that seemingly is 10 miles away. I'm telling you it's an angle change. You probably could agree with that as well. Now, if we go up in different locations above that original viewing point, we can start measuring the change of this horizon, right? You would agree as well. And the rate at which
No,
this
I want you to
changes.
look at my pictures.
Hold
Zanik.
on, I'm almost done. You didn't give me the courtesy that I gave you. As you go up, you will change. You will be able to measure and calculate the refraction. Why? Because it will change as you change your location elevation. Meaning, as you go up, this angle to the horizon will change, and by that change, we can predict what and actually figure out what the refraction is. That will determine the geometric horizon. Does that make sense?
Slightly, maybe, but look at my picture I've just posted, right?
Slightly, maybe.
Yeah.
Slightly, maybe. It was pretty clear.
Because I want you to look at
As
this picture. I
you
looked at
go
your
up,
picture.
the change of refraction
I looked at your
can-
picture, Zanik. Now look at my
Chemo,
picture
I
here.
looked at your picture.
So
I
Zanik,
looked at
look
your
at look
picture.
at this picture here on the left, right? Does the sun go behind this horizon here on the left?
Your picture of atmospheric magnification.
No.
Why
look
you're
at the
calling it
image,
magnification, I
Zanik.
don't. Why you're calling it magnification? I don't.
Forget
really
all
quite
of that.
understand.
Look at the left
But
image.
yes, the sun will be in a position that it will be setting further away than it would on this other day.
Zanik, I'm asking a simple question. Will the sun set beyond that horizon on the left?
Yes, the sun will set at that horizon.
But in front of the platforms.
The sun will set in front of the platform, the left platform.
On the left platform.
The sun will set where things are being obscured, and that point is just below the left object in the left picture.
Yeah, but will the sun set in front of the platforms or behind the platform?
Well, that's asking me whether that line is the horizon that you're.
That's
that
what I'm
you've
asking.
drawn
That
on
line
the
is the
picture.
horizon. You said if I'm at the beach and I see that horizon line, the sun will go down beyond that line.
That line is the horizon line. Yes.
Yeah, on the left. Yeah.
On the left. Yes.
That's where the sun will disappear.
Yes.
Okay. So then now I look at the one on the right, and now that horizon is behind the platforms.
Have you noticed that it's raised up above the structure in front? That now instead of where those cross members are, it's actually higher, and you can see it getting closer to the bottom of the actual structure, the floor structure of the oil platform.
What does
It's
that
been
do to the
loomed up.
horizon? Where will the sun
Yes.
set then on the right?
The horizon now, the visual horizon is further away. In fact, it's almost to the platform in the far distance, the 9-mile platform. It's almost that far.
So it's
So yes,
behind. Now it's behind the 9-mile platform.
angularly. Look at
Huh?
the angles of the horizon. It's actually been loomed up. Yes. So it's not that it's further away. It's just that it's now risen in your field of view.
No, but you're saying that the horizon is 10 miles away there, yeah?
The horizon will apparently be 9 or 10 miles away. Yes.
The sun will go beyond that horizon, yeah?
Yes.
So now you know. That's what I'm trying to say to you. So now we can see that the horizon comes back and it comes forward.
It goes up and goes down. You can semantics, but go ahead. That's fine.
So then
Goes back and it's forward. Horizon's further away. Great.
out of these two images, which
apparent
one?
horizon is now further away,
So
and you
which
can
one is-
measure how much you can measure how much change there's been by raising your field of your point of view, and by measuring this position as you go up, you can actually calculate the refraction along the way.
I'm asking for the
Because at some
geometric
point, there won't be
horizon.
any refraction.
Zanuck, can you let him lead, man? You know, it's like you take these moments to preach to the choir when he's trying to demonstrate something to you.
He knows why. That's why he's doing it on purpose. Look, he doesn't want to do it because he knows exactly.
John, we've heard this for years. It's confusion of what.
Yeah,
refraction
so why don't we hear? Okay, whatever. All right.
It is whatever, because like I said, he's going to do this all night. He knows exactly the problem, that the horizon is moving all over the place. So if he hasn't got a geometric horizon for the sun to go over, well, where does it go down? At which point
I
does the
told
sun
you,
go
you
down?
calculate it. See, you talk about science, it's a simple calculation by a simple process. You raise your point of view 3 or 4 times. Let's say you go 5 feet, 10 feet, 20
Zanuck,
feet.
you have to
30
listen to his
I'm
point,
lis-
repeat it,
I'm
and word
responding
it using his
with those
words. You're not using his
those 4
words.
data points. With those 4 data points of the horizon's position, you could then calculate the refraction at any point along its path and realize how much refraction is down there. Because as you go up, the refraction goes down.
So you're saying the one
You
on the
get that?
left is the
It goes
geometric.
down as you go up.
So hold on then. So you're saying the one on the right is the geometric horizon, and you're calculating refraction based on the one on the
No,
left.
no one's claiming that, Chemo. That's a straw
No one
man.
said that.
No, I'm asking him which one is the geometric horizon.
No, it is
Neither.
a straw man. I
Neither.
didn't say
and-
that.
Hold on, Chemo. Neither.
How's he
Neither of the
all right,
geometric
fine
horizons.
then. So how's he calculating then where one should be and one shouldn't?
By measuring as you go up.
Measuring
Different
from what?
data points.
Hold on. The easiest way to approach this is Chemo. They take the refractive index of just dry air. You could use wet air as well, whatever, just to see how much the lapse rate would be within that medium, right? You're just testing to see how much the light will deviate.
I'm not talking about
All
that.
right.
I'm trying to find out where
That is.
where the geometric horizon is in either of these two images, where the sun would go over.
Yeah,
Now
it's not
Zanuck
in
said it
either
would
of
go
them.
over the one on the left. That means that's the physical geometric horizon. It should go over that horizon.
No, see,
I didn't say that.
So where is the geometric
That's
horizon?
Again,
That's a straw man.
The straw man.
Chemo.
So all right
You're-
then. So
you're-
where
you're
is
building a straw man.
Zanuck? Start again. Where would the sun go down on the one on the left?
Visually, it would go down at that line, at the base of that first platform.
But how can it go down when you can see the one on the right? There's still space. There's still land there.
And both have some level.
Water's there.
You
Sorry.
don't know exactly what level of refraction you're seeing. Obviously, the
Wait.
one in the right, on the right, will
Uh-uh.
be higher angularly than the left. Now, you want to know what the
Chemo.
refraction is?
Same
Again,
elevation,
measure it
Zanuck.
from different spots as you go up, and you'll figure out what the refraction
It's
is.
the same
Because as you
elevation,
go up,
Zanuck.
the rate of change of this refraction will dictate what the refraction is at any of those elevations.
You're not getting it, Zanuck.
It's been destroyed. I'm going for a cup
Chemo.
of tea. I'm having a cup of tea.
Chemo,
Zanuck, you need to really think about your position on this, because where is that geometric horizon if you're saying the sun is setting beyond that point?
You'll never
Which
see
sun?
it.
Chemo, which sun? The real sun or the apparent sun?
Good one. That's a good question. Chemo.
Chemo, which sun? The real sun or the apparent sun?
That's the point. You don't know where anything is in the sky ever. In actuality, could be anywhere.
Jeremy, don't play Captain Save-A-Ho.
You got perspective. You got perspective.
Yeah, that doesn't make it
diffraction,
happen. That doesn't make it happen.
Other.
Come on.
Diffraction.
I asked Chemo a very specific question related to his question as point of clarification. So, Chemo, which sun? The real one or the apparent one?
Who knows? Nothing's ever where you think it is.
Chemo,
It could be anywhere.
Jeremy, stop playing Captain Save-A-Ho. Let him answer it. If he's afraid to answer it, then he can just say, I'm afraid to answer it.
Do you have a picture of the sun going around the earth?
Video would be better.
Not a picture.
I want you to think about that statement
You can't
and then come back.
You can't have a picture of the
Welcome to
sun,
Flat Earth.
the Earth, because it goes around the sun.
Oh, guess Chemo went to go get some tea conveniently.
All right, so I just put a picture in the chat. So everybody believes in this room that that sun is 3 miles away, huh?
Hell no. No.
Dave, even if the Earth were flat, that's not 3 miles away.
It's that
Who's with the comedy relief section, eh, David?
Dave, do you think that that's that two-dimensional image is literally a two-dimensional image?
No, you guys are saying that it's going by that the curvature of the Earth is 3 miles away. That sun's going down 3 miles away in that photo, right? No.
David, can you think in 3 dimensions? I'm just curious.
We
spatial
can.
relations.
We got to remember we live on a planisphere.
Okay, if we're on a plane or whatever,
A planisphere. We got the sphere of space.
However-
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So a flat bottom. Gotcha. So even if that were true, you're still not thinking in 3 dimensions in relationship to that plane.
As in what? What are you? In what manner are you speaking?
Okay. If the sun is located in the upper portion of the photo, is that the top?
In the picture that I just put in the chat?
In reality, is that sun? Okay, even they want to put it in the chat.
Yeah, the sun comes at me from the east and goes away from me in the west.
I got that. That wouldn't work on a flat plane, but okay.
No, that everything. What you got to understand is every single thing. All your ball Earth is on paper. It's not anything.
I'm not a baller.
It's not in reality. You don't live on a ball Earth in reality.
David, I'm not a baller. That argument doesn't work with me.
Well, then I don't know what you're speaking of. The Earth is flat from one end to the other.
Okay, so that's what we're going to go off of. If that were true, then the sun would act completely different than it does in reality.
Why would you think that?
Because if it's circling overhead like a hula hoop, we would be able to see the hula hoop.
We have no claims. Once the sun leaves the west coast of the United States, we have no proof of anything after that point back around to when it comes up from the east.
Dave, according to that logic, nothing else outside of your living room exists.
Damn, I must be fake.
Would you like to continue on with that narrative?
Do you think because the sun, do you think that the Earth is a round ball?
Dave, I'm not a baller. I'm not here to argue for a ball.
So what is your point? The sun, we have all we have is information that we're given.
Yes, and I'm
information
asking you
we're
about
given from the communists is all the information we have. So you got to look
I'm
at
not
it.
a communist, and I'm
Like
not going off of the. Dave, are
No,
you a communist?
all information that is available for me to look up has been censored by the communists. Yes.
So you're
bit
saying
of
you're
every
communist?
every school book, every math class,
Okay,
every
Dave.
science class.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you, are you a communist?
No, I don't consider myself a communist. Thank you very much.
Okay, so if I'm going off of your information, then I'm not getting anything from a communist. You would agree with this?
My information would be based on common sense.
Not really, but okay.
Yeah, in all reality, we're talking straight reality. No assumptions.
You made a lot of assumptions.
I make no assumptions.
Want to bet?
As much as what's his name didn't have beliefs, I'm not making any assumptions.
That's fine, but you are making up shit.
I make up nothing. There are no assumptions in reality.
Okay, so in reality, if the Earth were flat and the sun is circling over our heads,
I don't know that
we
it's
would
circling
see.
over our heads. All I know is it comes up in the east and sets in the west. That's everybody on Earth. That's all they know.
Let him finish.
How
'Cause he's about to make an assumption, though.
But he is. He just made
He's
an
about to
assumption.
make no. You're about to make an assumption by saying in the flat Earth, this is what. It,
Yeah?
that's an assumption.
No, it's not. It's based on information provided by flat earthers. That's the difference there.
It's based on
See,
the
I'm
assumption of what you think it will happen on a flat Earth. It's really
No,
simple.
it's based on information provided me by flat earthers.
No, your information, once it leaves the West Coast, all your information is given to you by the Russians.
I'm not actually. I don't have to go to the Russians to put this together. All I had to do was go to flat earthers, and they told me what happens.
Well, they're not. They don't use common sense. A lot of flat earthers are repeaters, kind of like you, but we know how
I'm not
that
a
is.
flat earther, and I'm not repeating anything.
No, you're a repeater. Aren't
No.
you? It wouldn't work on everything you see. You know, they tell you, even the people on here tell you that you can't, that you live on a flat Earth where you're.
I heard that a lot.
Where you're located at.
And what's interesting is they're not the only flat earthers that have existed or currently around. So there is documentation you can go and read where everything y'all say, we don't make claims, are claims that have been made.
There are claims that are made.
That's true. I used to think they didn't make a claim about the height of the dome, but today I learned that they do.
Yes, Lemon has his ideas. Robotham had his ideas, and many other have had their ideas.
Most flat earthers think have their own opinion of stuff. That's the one thing about flat earthers. There's no consensus or really.
But I thought it was common sense, David.
Other than that. Well, I mean, you could speculate about a lot of things.
Oh no, these guys say they know.
Most of current science, all space and all that, that's all speculated.
Don't care.
Those are theories.
Still don't care, David. There are flat earthers that make definitive claims about how things work. You not agreeing with that doesn't change that. And the fact that there are a lot that agree on the same points doesn't change the fact that you don't like it, and that doesn't change the fact that it exists.
I think, I don't know, they're most, as in
So
what the dome.
you want to be Mr. Wishy-washy like a fucking child.
I have my own. If they have a certain way of looking
stand for it.
I generally have an explanation. Like the dome, there
Okay,
is no
good.
dome. It's like me. Temperature
There's no
control. There is no dome. Temperature is the force that controls the atmosphere. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very simple explanation. Common sense.
Dave?
The higher you go, the colder it gets. Air and all these molecules are subject to the temperature. The hotter they are, the more active are. The colder they are, they sink. Just like when you open your fridge door, the air drops out and falls to the floor. Very simple.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's no
What?
dome. All it is temperature based. You live
I
in
got it.
you live in water gas.
That's you mean, David, the atmosphere is primarily comprised of nitrogen.
Yeah, but the only problem is there's no nitrogen wells. You could claim that, but you can't even
I don't
pop
know
a
where you
hole
get
in.
wells. I don't know. I didn't say anything about wells.
Yeah, there's no where's the nitrogen come from?
It's here. It's
No.
not. It's not. And by the
What do
way,
you
you
mean?
do know that there is such a thing called a nitrogen cycle, right?
Are you taking him seriously?
Eh.
I hear you. Thanks, Stone.
Where does the nitrogen come from?
Is that an answer? I'm just curious.
Where does if there's no nitrogen wells, there's no nitrogen gas flowing out anywhere, it would have to be just like a constant amount of nitrogen on inside the dome.
Okay, that still obeys physics.
No, that's another assumption. That's one of your assumptions that
No, really.
the air is 78% nitrogen. That is not a fact. That's just made up shit.
Hold on, man. Are you saying that's never been tested? We don't know what the air is made out of?
Yes, that's what he's saying. He's saying we don't know anything.
Oh, Dave.
Because he doesn't
come
know
on.
anything. He assumes we don't know what he doesn't know. Because
But
he's
he
a
knows
fucking
that
idiot.
it's all water
Willfully
gas.
ignorant.
So David, how do you
he
know it's
doesn't.
all
He
water
just makes
gas?
that up too.
I know. But he claims that it's the straight truth.
You can hear him
Yeah, he
trying not to
does.
laugh, right?
I know. It's still fun.
Dave, some of the stuff you say is interesting, but you apply it in the wrong way towards the wrong arguments.
Oh, so you know the correct ones. Cool.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you're arguing for like the angles between distances and stuff, and then you bring up all of a sudden it's a conspiracy to keep us from knowing it, it just there's a non sequitur. That's what I'm saying. He's done that a couple of times. Like, he might be right about conspiracies, but it has little to do with the topic at hand, which is like the angles of mountains and such.
He's not. He doesn't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
Force the line, guys. Force the line.
What does it even mean?
Do you know how to make a cloud?
It's a stupid question. But then again, I guess it's normal here.
How to make a cloud?
Yeah, like a cloud of gas.
That's. Are you being serious, Logi?
Don Geo, what does that video you keep posting, that GIF, what does that have to do with anything? The one with the flooding and the water and the muddy, dirty water.
Oh, when I see high altitude balloon footage, I see rim curve. That's what I call it.
Oh, I see. Okay, so like a fisheye lens. That's what you're showing.
No.
Okay, so what does that image itself have to do with the topic? I'm just curious. You posted it a couple of times.
Let me see. How can I? You know
The
how, like,
muddy
if you
one.
throw a rock in, you know how you throw a rock in a pond, right? And it ripples out. Rim curve.
Okay.
That's what I call it.
What does it mean?
No, it's called skimming, Don. Skimming.
Skimming. Ah, I like that.
Yeah, when you skim a stone across water.
No. I'm saying just drop it in there. Just drop it, and then you have ripples coming out.
But there's no
circles.
There's no rocks falling in the one that you posted with the river flowing.
I'm talking about the shape of the Earth.
Okay.
Hang on, I'll post something. Give me a second.
What
and
does
I'll
the
show you.
river,
Makes sense in
the
your
muddy
mind.
river, what does that have to do? It's like there's a bank on the other side, and there's
So
like some
big-
houses.
Yeah, that's what I see in videos. The Earth being like higher you go. It's spreading out, but having curve like a rim,
Ah, okay. I wish you could explain that better, but okay.
like a
I
plate,
see what you mean.
like a plate.
So the Earth is really flat.
Yes, yes, the Earth is flat, not like a mirror or a pancake, but flat as in there's no measurable curvature anywhere on the Earth. Absolute zero elevation drop on the horizontal.
Oh, chemo.
All right, here's the best way I can
Real
explain
sun or
it.
apparent sun?
What?
Real sun or apparent sun?
Real sun or apparent
Question
sun?
before you disappeared. You never answered it. The real sun or the apparent sun?
What do you mean the apparent sun?
Hey, you think everybody forgot that you just disappeared?
I'm
That
asking
you ran
what do you
away
mean by
again?
apparent sun?
Remember what I was talking to you about yesterday about running away?
Yes,
How
I
you guys
do
always run
remember.
away
I'm
when
asking
it
you,
gets
what
too
do you mean?
close?
So you mean apparent
You
because
ran
it's
away
93
again, right?
You mean apparent because it's 93 million miles away and takes 8
Yeah,
minutes
no,
for
no.
us to see
The
light?
question was, what goes behind the horizon, the real sun or the apparent sun?
Sun. Real sun.
Real or apparent?
The real sun.
So what about the apparent sun?
What apparent sun?
So there's an apparent horizon, but there's only a real sun in your mind.
The sun goes past your negative angle of view.
The real sun, go over your head, go away from you.
How do you know it's the real sun,
Horizon.
not the apparent sun?
No, you only have an apparent sun if it goes over the curvature. You don't have curvature on the Earth. But in your world, you
So
have
there's a
apparent...
real sun, but only an apparent horizon. All right, gotcha.
Why do you have such a fascination with the Earth being a ball? That's what I don't understand.
In your world, you have apparent and physical horizon. Geometric horizon is physical and apparent, and you have and you have an apparent and physical sun. On the flat Earth.
No, in our world, we understand what it means to see.
On the flat Earth,
We understand
you have
what
a physical
seeing
sun
is,
that goes beyond
right?
the apparent horizon. That's it.
But see, but we understand what seeing is.
On a flat Earth, you have a physical horizon.
Well, it's
There's
not.
an actual.
It's not physical.
You can actually measure the horizon on a flat Earth.
How?
Because of your height. Your height gives you your angle.
Yeah,
What? What?
Horizon's not physical.
Just
The horizon is physical from your negative angle. You got to remember everything below your.
What is the negative angle? How do you have a negative angle?
When you gonna do the math, David?
Everything below your.
David, when you do the math and share with us?
What are you talking about, David? How can it be physical if it's moving or like? It's not a real place. It's different for everybody.
No, but in prime
Even
conditions,
Kimo doesn't know what you're talking about, David.
In prime conditions, there is a physical. It's just like when you're 6 foot tall. The physical horizon's 3 miles away. It's like if somebody walks with an orange in their hand and they walk away from you 3 miles away, that orange will disappear and you will not see them or the orange.
Why?
Right?
What?
With
David,
20/20
go take your meds, man.
With 20/20 vision, if you're standing on a flat highway and somebody gets out of the car and is pissed off at you because you called them a dumbass and all they got to eat is an orange and they get out of the car and start walking away from you and they get 3 miles away from you, you will no longer see them or the orange.
You seriously think you can see an orange from a mile away?
David, what if I'm looking at a skyscraper What if I'm looking at a skyscraper and I see it 10 miles away? Why didn't it disappear?
Anything
Oh, you can't see an orange from a mile away, let alone 10. Come on.
anything with height, you can determine exactly how tall something is as long as you know how far away it is.
Can you tell us the formula?
Just by the angle that it is off the horizon, because the
Show us
horizon
the math,
is
man.
because the horizon is 3
David,
miles
show us
away.
the math. Demonstrate to
You're
us that you understand the thing you're talking about. Show us the math.
All right, you got to understand something. You're
No, I don't have to understand. I understand you haven't showed us the math. That's all I need to understand.
Your curve
Dave,
calculator.
all you have to do is show us the math. You know you can't do it.
Get your curve
Show us the
calculator.
math.
Your curve calculator is the math for the flat Earth.
Show us the math.
No idea. Fuck. Oh,